I'm Dr. Peter Fretwell. I work at the British Antarctic Survey in Cambridge in the UK, where I've been working for 20 years or so. And my background, or what I do mostly now, is I do remote sensing. That's I study the Earth from space using satellites, and I specialise in detecting, monitoring, and studying wildlife, mostly polar wildlife, using very high resolution satellite images. So satellites which might be 800 kilometers above our heads, but have a resolution on the ground of about 30 centimeters, an A4 sheet of paper or so. And we study many of these species as they're being affected by climate change and human pressures around the world. So walrus are an incredibly charismatic species and very important to the Arctic ecosystem and the native peoples up there. But they're under threat at the moment. They've been hunted, but in some places in the world, hunting has stopped and most of it's now regulated. But they're becoming under pressure from climate change, also from as climate change sort of reduces the ice, more shipping is happening, development and habitat destruction and pollution of the Arctic. And because they live in such remote places and they move around a lot, it's quite difficult to assess their numbers and have a good population estimate and a population trend for them. Most of my work has been in the Antarctic rather than the Arctic. I've been looking at penguins now for 15 years using satellite, but we've expanded out to many species: whales, seals, albatross, and we thought that walrus are large. There had been a couple of test examples of looking at walrus using satellite imagery. And as the imagery's got better and a higher resolution, we thought we should really, in collaboration with the WWF, we were going to start a project which would look at trying to count and monitor walrus by satellite. We originally thought about where should we do this, but overall we just decided we do the whole Arctic. We went large. Let's do the whole Arctic. So we've been looking across most of the Arctic. We've stopped now looking at Russia for obvious reasons, but most of the Arctic now, and especially the Atlantic walrus, which is in Canada, Svalbard, Greenland, and European Russia. We're concentrating on that, and we monitor all of the known haul-outs and potential haul-outs of the walrus every year. Walrus move around a lot. So if you just go to a site once a year, there might be no walrus there at all. But you didn't know that yesterday there were 100 and the day before there were 50. So getting just one image is quite not always representative. But of course, if you can get all of the places where they haul out on multiple occasions, then you're going to get a much better chance of understanding the true population and seeing their movements, what time they turn up, what time they leave, and what the variability is. So if we can do that over multiple years, it tells us about the population trend, but it also tells us what the drivers are of if there's a big bad sea ice year, do we get more or less walrus there? If there are particularly warm years or cold years or better foraging years, how does that affect the numbers? So we can start to look at the drivers of the population as well as the numbers. So this is the ideal citizen science project. We have an app called the Walrus from Space app, which you can find off the WWF website, which is run by a company called GeoHive, who take the images for us. And you can go on there, and at the moment we've got live we've got live campaigns where you can go and you can look through imagery and you can tell us if you can see walrus. And we've got about 500,000 small tiles there, which the public have been looking over the last year or two to assess where the walrus are. So the first part of the campaign is to find the walrus. And then when we find the walrus, and there's usually just a few hundred places where we find walrus, then we ask the public again to go online to a slightly different part of the app and to count them, so putting dots onto each walrus. And it's been incredibly successful. We're in the third year now. We've had well over 30,000 counters actively assessing the imagery and counting for us. We're looking now to the 2023 season, so that should be online soon as well. So yeah, this is a great opportunity to actually do proper science from your own living room.